Hello, and thanks for watching Art Time with Anderson. We are going to talk about retouching today, one of those final steps of editing your image. So when we're in Lightroom right here, we have our modules off to the side, and the zoom tool. So you just hit Z to get the zoom tool up, and you can zoom in and out. So then you've got this little hand, and you can kind of move it around, and that'll just come up automatically when you're using the zoom tool, or you can hold the space bar when you're on another tool. So right here we have these little ratios. So the 2:1 ratio, which I actually think I like that one for this image. So if I just hit the Z key, it'll zoom me in about that much. So if I wanted it to zoom in more or less, that would be more, and less would be something like that, okay? So I was thinking that I think I liked the 2:1. Okay, so that's good for me for this image. Up here, if I scroll over, we've got the spot removal tool. Really valuable for those little spots. Actually, while I'm in here, I'm going to bring some of the highlights down a little bit too. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, and here you've got the size, the feather, the opacity. You also have these two choices, clone and heal. Clone will take a more exact copy. Here, I want the source to be, it'll take a more exact copy of what you're looking at. Now the opacity is not 100% on this, but if I pump the opacity up to 100%, that's what it would look like. If I pump the feather up to none, it would just be this little circle, this just like little repetition of what you're seeing up here. So it's repeating that circle. So that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just kind of showing you the effects of the brush. So if I feather it, that feathers it in, and the opacity will kind of like overlay it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that guy. The healing brush will sort of take the two and combine them. Not sure if you can tell based off that, like what I did. So it'll kind of combine these two. I'm going to hit delete on that. So I'm going to go to clone for this one because I want to come in here and I want to actually take parts of the skin that are looking good and cover up the parts of the skin that are not as smooth. So when I do this, the feather, I like to keep the feather up pretty high to give it that natural look, and then the opacity kind of in the middle. So but I can play with that opacity and see if I like it. Actually, I like it up there around 75, I think. So real quick, we can just kind of clean this up a little bit, and sort of like the magic touch for high school, right? Okay. We all want to look good in our photos, and it is totally not fair, by the way. Many times I look and I can immediately tell photos that have been photoshopped, and so we're always kind of looking at these photos that I hesitate to use the term Photoshop, but retouched. And I mean, that's what photos look like. So those are all the spots that we did retouching in. As soon as we hit close, we're gonna see that. So I can zoom back in here. I'm gonna hit Y to have them up right next to each other, and you can see how we cleaned the face up a little bit there. Now I'm gonna come into this image right here, and I am going to, she's looking good in this, but this is like a family photo shoot, and we want to make sure that moms are always looking their best. So we're always tired, so we're going to clean up some of these the tired circles underneath the eyes. So we're going to come back to the spot removal tool, keep it feathered, keep the opacity. This time I'm going to hit heal because it looks like I've already done this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these, okay, and hit delete, okay. And there's a couple of different things I can do. So on this I want to hit heal because it's actually going to combine the two color types. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, okay? And so I am selecting the part I want to edit. it's going to choose for me another part, and that actually made a huge difference. But what I don't like about this is based on the aperture, I'm losing a lot of skin texture. So I'm actually going to move it up here because I want to keep that skin texture sort of like more normally looking. And let me just reinforce that you do need the feather on this so that it doesn't look like a line you just kind of drew. And so this one's going to be a little bit interesting because I'm going to do right underneath the eye there. I don't like where that one is sampling from. I don't want it to look like overly similar. And then I'm actually going to zoom in just a little bit more here. Oops. I'm going to hit my spacebar key, and I'm going to come right in here and just see if I can get this little spot right here without editing the nose too much, and I am able to do that. So I'm going to zoom back out, but now to sort of edit where it was, I'm going to go back to my 4:1 ratio here, and I want to see, oh, I see, it's coming down here. Okay, and I don't want them to be all too close together. Okay, so I'm going to hit close, and then I'm going to come back to my spot removal tool, and I'm just going to go to clone, and it went right to the other freckle. I'm going to clean up some of these little freckles on her face, on the kid. I just feel like they kind of interfere with the total look of the image. That we don't want right there, is because now it looks like part of the lip. So I'm going to come up here and just kind of smooth things up a little bit, which we also do in Luminance. So I'm going to hit close on this so that we don't see it. Then I'm going to hit Y. Okay, so we see there is a huge difference happening here. So we have before and after. And what that did is that also lightened it up quite a bit. If the circles are still really dark, you can actually come in here. I don't think it needs this. I'm just going to do this to show you and take the exposure up a little bit. So that's overdoing it, but you don't want to do that because it'll give like kind of like a ghostly appearance. So actually, if I just up it just a little bit, I'm going to hit Y again, and I'm still on that same exposure edit there. So the amount is only okay, so I'll hit Y, and there we have it. I'll hit close, Y again, before and after. And as you guys can start to see, you could even do things like, she doesn't really have fine lines, but you could even start to like retouch up laugh lines, etc. So let's zoom out here and go back to our other image, and there we go. There you have it. That is retouching in Lightroom. Thanks for watching.